Hey friends, in this video you will write and execute your first PHP script. At this point I assume that you have installed XAMPP and you can view the dashboard page in your browser. You can write code in any text editor, but there is a convenient tool for that, a code editor. We're going to use Visual Studio. It's free and suitable for beginners. To install Visual Studio, go to code.visualstudio.com. Download the version for your operating system. Windows users run the installer, follow the default installation steps, and you'll be fine. Mac users unzip the downloaded archive and drag Visual Studio to the Applications folder, and you're ready to go too. Ubuntu users download the deb package, run it using software install, and you'll be fine too. Now that you have XAMPP and Visual Studio installed, we have one last step to prepare. You need to locate the htdocs folder on your computer. The Apache web server looks into that folder to run PHP scripts. Apache created that folder during its installation. To find it, open the XAMPP control panel. If you're using Mac, click the Open Application Folder button. It will open a file browser, and there is our htdocs folder. Open the context menu and select the Get Info option. Here is our path. Or you can hover over the current folder title in Finder and click the right mouse button. Finder will show you the full path. If you're using Windows, click the Explorer button. You can see the full path in the Explorer. Now open the htdocs folder. To keep things organized, we will create a subfolder here and name it learn-php. We will create our scripts in this subfolder. Now that everything is prepared, let's create your first script. Open Visual Studio, go to the File menu, then select Open Folder. We need to locate and select that Learn PHP folder we've just created. In my case, on Mac, it's under Applications, XAMPP, htdocs, and here is our Learn PHP folder. I'm going to select that folder and click Open. Now click on the new file icon in Explorer. Type play.php and hit Enter. It's going to create an empty PHP script in our folder. If Explorer isn't visible, use one of these two buttons to show it. Okay, we put PHP code between PHP tags. To write an opening tag, type the less than symbol, then put question mark and PHP. Go down a couple of lines and put a closing PHP tag. It's going to be a question mark and the greater than symbol. Okay, now we can write PHP commands between these tags. The first thing every self-respecting beginner developer does is show a hello world message. We are gonna follow this tradition. So between PHP tags, write echo single quote, hello world from PHP, pizza hungry programmer, single quote, semicolon, and save the file. Now open your browser, type localhost/learn-php/play.php. Hit Enter. And there it is, our message. You have officially run your first PHP script. Now there is no turning back. See how this part of the URL is exactly the same as the name of the Learn PHP folder and the Play PHP script we've created. That's because the URL part after localhost reflects the part in the file system starting from the htdocs folder. So if we created a couple nested directories in htdocs, we could access them in the browser. To try that out, I will create another subfolder inside Learn PHP and name it Fruits. Then I will create another subfolder inside Fruits and name it Lawn Fruits. In the Lawn Fruits folder, I will create a PHP script and name it Banana PHP. I will add PHP tags and echo banana, and also I'm going to put this banana emoji. Save the file. Now I will try to access this script using the following URL: localhost/learnphp/lawnfruits/banana.php. Awesome. It outputs the message, which means that the banana PHP script was executed successfully. Now back to our initial script. There are three important things on that line. The first one is the echo command itself. What it does is show the string you give it. You do that by placing the string right next to the echo command. The second important thing on this line is the string itself. Strings are one of the most valuable data types in PHP. You're going to use them a lot. You put strings between single quotes. But there are 3 more ways to define strings. They have more cool features than the single quote strings. Don't worry, we will discuss strings in detail soon enough. If I don't wrap the string in single quotes, then PHP will panic and throw an error. The default error browser shows us isn't that informative. We can configure PHP to show us more detailed information about errors. There are multiple ways to do that. At this point, I will go with the easiest one for you, and later we will discuss more advanced options. So let's create the .htdocs file inside the Learn PHP folder. Using this file, we can configure Apache and PHP. To show detailed errors, let's write the following line: php_value display_errors on. Save the file, reload the page, and now you can see that beautifully detailed error message. Here, PHP says that while parsing line 3, it found an incorrect command, which is our string without single quotes. Also, Visual Studio is smart enough to warn us about that error even before we run the PHP script, which is quite awesome, and one of the benefits of using a code editor. To make things right, I'm going to put back the single quotes. This semicolon is the last important thing on the line. It tells PHP this is the end of the echo the string statement. Statements in PHP are like the sentences in your regular speech. You end each sentence with a period in English. In PHP, you end each statement with a semicolon. Let's show another string right after the first one. I write echo PHP potato hungry programmer and semicolon. I'm gonna save it and reload the page. And now I have 2 perfectly complete and working statements. If I remove this semicolon from the first statement and reload the page, then PHP gives me an error. It complains that I need to separate 2 statements using a semicolon. So I need to put the semicolon back. Now let's quickly review what happens when you open this URL in the browser. First, your browser sends a request to your computer's web server, Apache. It happens because the localhost domain name refers to your computer and not to some website on the internet. Then Apache accepts the request from your browser. It uses the URL's relative path to determine which file to use on your computer. Apache uses that URL path as a file system path starting from the htdocs folder. Apache recognizes this file as a PHP script because its name ends with the .php extension. Then Apache executes our PHP script and sends to the browser all the output the script produced. Then your browser shows the response it received from Apache. I want to emphasize a couple of things. First, PHP scripts are not executed in your browser. PHP code is not being sent to the browser at all. PHP scripts are executed on the web server. Your browser just shows whatever output they return. Second, the files that have the .php extension are executed as PHP scripts. The files that don't have the .php extension are not executed as PHP scripts. Their content is sent to the browser as is. Let me show you. I'm going to create a file with the txt extension. I will put the same exact PHP tags and echo a message. If I run this file, we can see here all its content. This is because Apache didn't run the file as a PHP script and just send the file to the browser as is. If Apache doesn't find the file requested in the URL, it responds with the 404 error. This is a standard HTTP response error code. It means that a web server couldn't find the page. From my experience, you will learn PHP much faster if you have additional practice after watching these videos. So at the end of each video, I will leave you some ideas for practice. Just watching these videos won't progress you much in PHP. You master a skill by practice. Try to echo a couple of your own messages. Try to break your script on purpose. Remove semicolons. put them in the wrong places, for example, right after the echo word. Try to remove the opening tag and see what happens. In the next video, you will learn variables. Variables are super important in programming.